Hi. Look at this. We have actually good lighting this week. Aren't you proud of me? Aren't you just super proud? Anyway, hi, welcome. My name's Unhinged. I'm feeling very Evan today. Let's go. We've got we got a pretty nuts topic to think about. This is going to be a big turnaround from last week, which was country. This week's going to be this week you're gonna really get a good glimpse into uh, some particular interests of mine. But anyway, monkeys. We all we've all got them. It's pretty common knowledge that humans are technically a form of ape. We've evolved from apes. We share the same common ancestor. Yada yada yada. All that good stuff. What is not so common knowledge is the suggested evolutionary, I guess, parallel? Oh, parallels. More like tangents between apes and snakes. And no, this isn't some crack theory about how snakes and apes are related in some way. It's more. I'll explain. So, I watched a really cool YouTube video this week. I'll link it in the description for y'all below. It's very interesting, but it's about how apes and snakes are like in an evolutionary arms race, basically, because snakes evidently used to be slash are theorized to have been one of the primary predators for apes, and a lot of the evolutionary traits and stuff in apes suggest this and supports this theory, and even in some snakes it supports this theory as well. It's believed that this is why apes have like forward-facing eyes and such good eyesight and all that kind of stuff, is that they can identify snakes. And I'll just kind of summarize this pretty quickly because it's all in the video that you're going to watch to make this video make more sense, obviously, haha. But they talk about how they like did some studies and did some tests and stuff, and they found that like apes that evolved to have better eyesight um, had to deal with more snakes during their evolutionary process, and apes that did not have as good eyesight did not have to deal with as many snakes when they were evolving. And humans even are kind of believed to be in this category. They did some tests and essentially found that humans could identify snakes more easily and more quickly than they could other animals, which on its own is very interesting, and I think that explains, at least partially explains, why so many people are afraid of snakes. I think the snake fear thing is kind of on its way out because more and more people are getting onto the side of boy I love danger noodle. I'm one of those people too. I love snakes. I think they're super neat, but even I know better than to mess with a snake. That's a whole other ballpark. Anyway. So, this video got me thinking, because if it's part of the human, like, genome and evolutionary process to have evolved specifically to better be able to evade, hunt, and defend themselves against snakes, then that actually explains a worldwide cultural phenomenon that pretty much all cultures independently of each other have adapted. Can you guess what it is? Okay, let's any guesses? It's dragons. It's dragons, baby. Like, oh god, this is it's because I'll link this in the description too, but a while ago during the about actually yeah, right about a year ago now, I made a project for a class in college where we essentially did like a research project based off of whatever topic we wanted to. And so I was researching dragons and how they can help us to understand empathy as well as introspection. And part of that introspection part um actually ended up being really, really strong because dragons have a huge tie to what I call like the human condition, as in just like what it means to be human and kind of like common traits that we all share no matter where we come from. And one of those is just the presence of dragons in our culture anyway. I did the research and pretty much everywhere in the world there's some kind of depiction of a dragon in just about every culture. And I thought that was really neat that there's this unifying idea of like overpowered magical reptiles just everywhere. And it made this really cool map with links to like different dragons and lores and stuff from around the world. And yes, I have like at least 3 for every continent, I think. So it's everywhere basically. Yeah, it's nuts just how many dragons are in like different cultures and stuff, and how many different depictions of dragons that there are. And they're not all like the classical idea of what you and I think of a dragon is. Dragons in popular media have been very highly westernized, but hey, what hasn't been very highly westernized nowadays? There are some more loose ideas and definitions about what makes a dragon, and the principles kind of come down to this. A dragon, at the end of the day, is something that is almost always depicted as at least semi-reptilian, usually having like very oftentimes having like snake-like or serpentine features, and they're always things that are very, very powerful. Power is a really big part of what makes a dragon. And that's why you have all these stories about like people slaying dragons and everything, is because it is like a testament to like the feat of humanity to be able to overcome and defeat and slay a dragon. It's a big deal. I think that links so nicely to this theory that humans, like part of human evolution was to evade and hunt and better survive against snakes specifically. And I think that like that instinct, that kind of genetic code that we have in order to identify and just deal with snakes better has like imprinted onto all of our cultures and our religions and stuff, and mixed in with a lot of folklore and mythology and stories and all this stuff, and has created this image of the dragon. The dragon is just kind of like snake plus plus plus, you know? Like if we're going with this idea that snakes are essentially like the primal enemy of the apes, the opposite of monkeys. Snakes are the opposite of monkeys, guys. That's what this entire video boils down to. You know, turn off the rest of the video. That's all that matters. You can go home now. It's fine. But if we're going after this idea that like apes and snakes have been at odds with one another for like years and years and years, and large portions of their evolution has been defined by like trying to deal with the other, and that makes sense that it's imprinted onto us and our cultures, and that snakes play such a big part in our culture as like this really powerful adversary that's really difficult to overcome, and is all the more impressive when you do overcome it. And I think that kind of helps to show why and how dragons have become such a universal concept in humanity and human culture, because like just look at the map thing I made down below. They're freaking everywhere. There's a dragon there's more than you'd think there'd be in cultures just everywhere. Like there's some in South America, there's some in Australia, there's African ones, there's ones from like the indigenous tribes of North America. We got dragons out the wazoo, baby. And so I think that this explains why that is, and that's why I'm just reeling from it, basically. I'm a big nerd, something like that, you know, so to speak. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to share this knowledge with people because I think it's super cool. Like, I genuinely think that this is super cool, and I don't usually think about the biopsychological link between culture, mythology, and folklore, and our evolutionary process, and our common ancestors that we've evolved from. So, like, this big ol'... What I'm trying to say is my mind was blown, and I'm trying to blow your guys' minds too. That's all I want is some brain explode action, but in a good way. This is making less and less sense as time goes on. Regardless, point is, ape versus snake has been prevalent for thousands of millions of years. It is prevalent in humans today, and ape versus snake has evolved to the next logical extreme, humans versus dragons, and that has pervaded our entire human culture. Yeah. uh, just cool stuff. Just cool stuff. Just me getting to rant about dragons. I'm sure I'm gonna do that again in the future. I did just mention that I made an entire project based around exploring how dragons can teach us about empathy and introspection. So at some point in the future, I should probably make a video about how dragons can teach us about empathy and introspection. For today, you get a video about how the human/ape evolutionary process has shaped dragons in our cultures worldwide. So, hey, hope that's good enough for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun hearing me talk about stuff that I actually objectively just love me a good dragon. Regardless, I hope you have a good day. Stay strong.